So, the Jonathan Majors stuff. Now, I'm going to preface this with some things that I want to be different because I'm not trying to be the cookie cutter of every other channel that's out there. And for any ladies maybe watching this that may automatically assume they know what I'm going to say, I'm trying to set myself aside for this content creation channel. I'm going to also put the usual warning I put out that if you're going to be nasty in the comments or just rude, it's going to get deleted. I want good discourse. I want thoughtful comments. I want thinking to be engaged. I don't want people just making insults. And the same goes for people on the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't want to see what I saw in various other news articles where you're just being racist because you've got nothing better to say, because that's what I saw in a lot. So if you're not aware by now, Jonathan Majors, who is an upcoming actor, has been found guilty of assault and harassment against his ex. And I'm a little dismayed by that because I did watch the footage that was available that TMZ had, the surveillance footage, all in all, and I do think there were some problems in that relationship. I'm not going to say there weren't, and I think that people are forgetting a couple of things, which is that within relationships, while it's easy to say that one side is innocent, one side is guilty, and where it's easy to just pin blame on one side or the other, they forget that relationships are not that symmetrical, okay? It seems that we hold famous people to a different standard for no better reason than they're famous. And I know some people are going to be like, well, they're famous people, they should know better. They're not. They're people at the end of the day, and their relationships are going to be just as crappy as yours or mine. That's all there's to it. People get into relationships that are bad and they stay in them because they don't know anything else or they don't know what else to do. It happens for men and women. And I think that the difference is that when men are being abused, it doesn't get taken as seriously. I am not saying that is the case here at all, but I do think that this was not very well handled. And I'm not going to get into the thing of, well, the jury was just full of it or any of that. No, she changed her story multiple times. That's well documented. You can look it up for it. You can also look up the footage to see what happened. I just cannot believe that he was as horrible as he is painted to be, considering he did try to get away from her. And I've heard the argument that, well, sometimes the victim goes after their assailant. And this was more than that. This was much different than that, because even in those circumstances, once the victim has determined they've fended off, this is even in nature, and you guys can make what comments you want there, but this is in nature. Once the victim or the person at harm has done enough to fend off the attacker, usually they seek safety. Fight or flight aside, there is a stopping distance to what point they're going to go, and she did not appear to be doing any of that. What I fear is going to happen out of this, part of it already has, is that you see the how do they put it? Another victim of Me Too. I don't think that's correct, because we shouldn't be belittling the Me Too movement but there are still cases that come up where women are going to abuse that, or where it's going to happen without trying to abuse it. At the same time, I don't want to have the crowd saying that this is just women being horrible and then get away with anything, because I don't necessarily think that's always the case. I think that a lot was glossed over. I think that a lot was not looked at carefully, and I think the jury did maybe have a preset agenda to it. And again, the jury made their decision, and it's horrible what happened to him. But we also have to realize, no matter what the jury did in this, his career was over. That's how it runs these days. His career was over. That's it. My other fear with this is that he was trying to get her help at some point, and I guess that didn't work, and it just kind of showed that he probably should have left her alone, as far as not even being, he should have ignored her texts and messages. And there's a no-win here for him. There's a no-win in this, because if she had hurt herself, he would have been at blame. And that's the shame of this whole thing, is there was no winning for him. It was done the moment something was there. That's it. Right or wrong, doesn't matter. He was already done. You can disagree with that, and that's fine. But if you're going to disagree with it, then you also have to say that justice occurred for her, because it can't be both ways, right? It can't be that he got what he deserved and she was wrong. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's unfortunate that this is the climate of things. I want better for both sides. I really do mean that. I want women to have better treatment and things. At the same time, I want the process of how these things are investigated to be a lot clearer. And I just feel like in this case, looking at everything, watching what happened, reading the articles, and getting a lot of the lines that came out, something was wrong here. Something was very wrong. At what point should they have stopped and asked her to clarify statements rather than let her keep changing her story? And that's what I think is most upsetting. Again, you can go check all of this yourself and see it. The information's out there. I didn't want to make this video exceptionally long for that. I'm not here to pick the court case apart in that level of depth. I'm putting out an opinion and commentary on this. That's what I want to do with this channel, is put commentary out, and part of being able to be relevant and to put videos out on a wide subject like this, especially political and news, I have to make these videos. I'm not saying I don't want to make them. I do, but I want them to be a little bit different. And I don't like the state of things between men and women right now. I really don't. I feel bad for both sides. And at the same time, to the ladies that may be hating on me for this, I'm sorry, but I'll tell you this, that I do feel in part that with as much as men have done through history, that this is the equal reaction to what has happened. So while I don't like a lot of what's happening, at the same time, I think it's an appropriate reaction at this point in time because of how bad things have been for women. And that's where it is difficult, because I don't like that people are being caught in the crossfire of this current culture war, if you will. But unfortunately, for things to be right, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be wrong. And that's kind of the path we're on. We have to find a better way out of this. And I don't see much progress happening. I just see things like this that keep happening, and I want there to be better progress. And I'm not sure where that is. I'm not sure what that looks like. I'm not sure how we get there. But I do know that this current reaction to things is not helping. It's making it worse. And I think that we're going to see the gap between men and women is going to get even worse. And the thing that I don't like is the more powerful people in this country that can shape things, mostly men, are going to make things a lot worse before they get better. And that is unfortunate. So that's my thoughts on this. Again, feel free to leave your comments, what you think, if you think he was innocent, what you saw that may have been wrong. And again, please keep the comments civil. I will be filtering through. I will be deleting comments that are not kept civil. That doesn't mean you can't have your opinion, but if it's going to be racist, rude, mean, sexist, and anything like that, it's going to be removed. So just to let you guys know.